You know, some people, not a lot, but some people still get upset at my Gypsy Rose videos. They say things like, why won't you just leave her alone? Why are you digging into her life? Why are you invading her privacy? But the reality is, I have never, not once, invaded Gypsy Rose's privacy. The only things I talk about in these videos are the things that Gypsy Rose puts out herself. It's not my fault that Gypsy Rose is so desperate to be famous and relevant that she's constantly selling tabloids information and secrets about her personal life. It's not my fault that Gypsy Rose hauls around her stepmom everywhere so her stepmom can take photos of her so they can sell them to TMZ and act as if Gypsy is being followed by paparazzi. I have nothing to do with any of that. All I do is talk about the stuff that Gypsy willingly puts out there. However, some of you might not know this, but there is a whole nother layer to the Gypsy drama that goes on behind the scenes. And I don't even talk about it. It's involving other bloggers, I guess some of them are YouTubers and just clout goblins on the internet, okay? A lot of weird people. But there's been drama going on between Gypsy and these people for a while. And like I say, I don't weigh in on it. But now, news has broke that Gypsy Rose is actually suing a blogger. So let's go ahead and dive into this article and figure out what in the hell is happening here. Gypsy Rose Blanchard sues blogger, claims release of medical records. Gypsy Rose is fuming over a blogger allegedly trashing her and her family's names after a planned partnership went south. And now she's taking the woman to court. Gypsy filed a lawsuit against April Johns, whom Gypsy says presented herself as Francesca Masella, when they first linked up in 2017. And she's alleging fraud, breach of contract, unjust enrichment, defamation, and false light against her. According to the docs, Gypsy says that her and her father and stepmother, Rod and Christy, respectively, were approached by April Johns for a possible team-up in media shortly after she was incarcerated for her role in her mother's murder. Gypsy claims that Ashley told them she'd be able to produce projects surrounding Gypsy's story that would make her and her family a ton of money. So she ended up signing a life rights agreement with this woman and then started telling her everything for 2 years. So you heard that right, correct? You know, right now, Gypsy is literally on a press tour, giving interviews everywhere, talking about how she doesn't want to be famous anymore. Now, how stupid is that? You don't want to be famous anymore, then go disappear and leave us all the hell alone. Don't go sit in front of every camera you can and talk to every journalist you can about how you don't want to be famous, knowing that you're only going to become more famous from these interviews. But regardless of whose side you're on or what you think is right or wrong when it comes to this lawsuit with Gypsy, what's being revealed here is that Gypsy saw the price tag on her mother's murder long ago. Shortly after she was incarcerated, she was already trying to figure out deals that would get her a lot of money. So that shows you the mentality of this little girl. And yeah, I'm going to call her a little girl in this video, because this little girl wants to continue playing victim. This little girl / grown woman wants to continue crying that she's, oh my God, so oppressed. Everything bad happened to her. Everyone feel bad for her. Yet the moment she was locked up behind bars, she saw dollar signs. Dollar signs that were attached to the crime that she committed against her mother. And at the end of the day, I don't care how supportive Gypsy's father and her stepmother are. I think they're users, and I don't think they're necessarily good people either, because if you really care about Gypsy, you should try to get her some help, maybe some therapy, not view her as a cash cow. And that's why this whole entire situation is disgusting, because shortly after murdering this woman, as we see here, the plans were already in motion, trying to figure out how they can become rich. How could they get money off of the crime that Gypsy committed? And this sets up, this is horrible for our society, and I've talked about it 1,000 times, but this is going to be the mentality of a lot of criminals going forward. Maybe I can commit some type of heinous crime and then rake in a bunch of money for writing books and making documentaries about it. You know what I mean? And even if you're a prisoner that gets life behind bars, maybe your family can make money off of the crime you committed. So that's a lot of murders and high-profile crime cases and true crime cases. This is how they're going to be viewed now. People are going to be thinking way ahead of, oh, who's found guilty, not guilty. No one's going to be caring about the details. Everyone's going to be caring about cashing in on a book, a documentary, a movie, a reality show, you name it. It's going to get crazy, folks. Gypsy is just the beginning. I can promise you that. But let's go forward. Gypsy claims that April, I keep calling her Ashley. Her name is April Johns, but she told them her name was Francesca. So what name do you all want to go for? April, Francesca, or should I just use the name Ashley? Because I already mistakenly used that name multiple times. But yeah, her name's April, but she goes by Francesca. Hard to keep up with these weirdos online. So, let's go forward. Gypsy claims that April told them she'd be able to produce projects surrounding Gypsy's story that would make her and her fam a ton of money. So she ended up signing a life rights agreement with this woman and then started telling her everything for 2 years. In the lawsuit, Gypsy says that she also provided materials to April, including medical records and crime scene photos from Dee Dee's murder, in the hopes that April would be able to use her connections to get a project off the ground. But Gypsy said that never happened. Instead, she claims nothing ever materialized with April, and after a while, she and her family cut her off. That's when things allegedly turned nasty, with Gypsy claiming April started to trash her, her dad, and her stepmom online, including making up false stories meant to defame them. Gypsy claims this woman went on a full-fledged hate campaign aimed at smearing her, and alleges she even posted some of the confidential info Gypsy had provided, including her medical records. Gypsy claims this lady had somewhat of a following on platforms like Patreon and was hinting that Gypsy was lying and misleading the public. Gypsy suggests because she and the family turned their backs on her after realizing she was never going to produce anything worthwhile, April became obsessed with talking about her, and now Gypsy says it's hurting her reputation and wants it to stop ASAP. As part of her lawsuit, she's asking for an emergency restraining order to muzzle April, who she claims has continued name-dropping her and posting content about her case. There's a hearing to discuss the restraining request scheduled for later this week. Now, I don't know much about April, but I know a lot about the internet, and I know there's a lot of crazy people on the internet, so I wouldn't be surprised if April is one of those creepy crazies. They always like to attach themselves to like true crime stories and stuff like that. That's one thing I have learned from doing true crime content, that the crazies will come out and they will become obsessive. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, although I'm not sure. However, when it comes to Gypsy talking about her reputation and stuff like that, listen. No one on God's green earth can ruin Gypsy's reputation more than she has ruined it for herself. Whatever April is saying behind the scenes, I can assure you that most people have no idea that April even exists. In fact, the Streisand effect is probably in full effect right now, because now that Gypsy Rose is suing this woman, more people will figure out who this woman is, and they will dig through the information that she's been posting online that Gypsy doesn't want out there. So this little lawsuit is probably going to backfire against Gypsy, because as of right now, a lot of people don't even know any of this stuff is going on behind the scenes. And now they do, thanks to Gypsy. But like I said, I have a difficult time with this, because on one hand, we know how I feel about Gypsy. I believe that she's a professional victim, always whining. She wants attention, she wants clout, she wants to be famous. But then again, I do know there's a lot of weird people online. So what's happening here is two weirdos probably are colliding. And I have nothing against April, because I don't know her personally. Maybe she's not weird. I'm just going to assume them. Sorry. But what we have here is Gypsy and maybe a crazy person online colliding. And it's what Gypsy should have expected. Because if Gypsy wants to be famous, she has to understand that her fan base is not going to be made up of regular, normal people. Gypsy, if you're famous and people actually like you and view you as an idol, those people are most likely sick in the head. So understand that with fortune and fame and with building a fan base comes those type of challenges, because you got to be careful about what type of fan base you are, accumulating. This is the type of fan base that you created. And like I always say in my videos, Gypsy doesn't know how to sing. She doesn't know how to write. She doesn't know how to dance. She has no talent. The only reason anyone knows who she is, the only reason people are paying attention to her at all, is because she killed her mom. And because her mom did some wild things to her when she was a child. So understand that, the world isn't going to send you their best when they're sending fans your way. No, it's going to be a bunch of disturbed, traumatized, most likely mentally ill people. Period. But I don't know how this lawsuit will go, but if it's all about protecting Gypsy's reputation, there is no protecting her reputation. And I wish that she would realize that. But I think in Gypsy's mind, maybe somewhere in Gypsy's mind, she thinks that, oh, it's these bloggers' faults. It's April's fault, the woman that most people don't even know exists. It's her fault that people view me, that people view me the way they do these days. Like, I'm wondering, does Gypsy have enough self-awareness to know that everyone hates her because of the things that she's been doing since getting out of prison? No one really hates you because of April or because of that blogger. No one hates you because of the videos I make. People watch these videos because they already formed a disdain for you because of your actions, because of how you've acted, because of your desperate attempt to become the new biggest reality show star. That's why people hate you. So you can sue April, you can sue the fake Ashley that I made up, you can sue Francesca, you can sue everyone. At the end of the day, it's not going to make people like you anymore. Your best bet, if you want people to leave you alone, is to leave us the hell alone. Okay? So when we wake up, we don't have to go on various news sites and see that you're giving more information and that you're selling more pictures and that you have caused more drama in your life for the sole purpose of getting more attention. But with all of that being said, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.